Okay, so last year when the knitting wars were going, or maybe this was 2019, I'm not even sure. Time bleeds together. But at some point during the knitting wars, the act of knitting green socks became racist. Now, I swear to God, this is true. It kind of started off as a joke, but then it was joked about so much that it kind of became a real thing. And I'm not going to go into why knitting green socks is considered racist, but I do actually have a video. It's an oldie but a goodie. It's a classic on this channel. I think it's literally called Why Knitting Green Socks is Considered Racist, that lays out the whole sordid affair. And I bring this up because when this was happening, at some point I had an idea. We were kind of talking amongst ourselves in the comments on Instagram, and I had this idea. I was like, what if we could start a covert, undercover, secret campaign to convince an administrator at Evergreen State College that the color green was racist? And we would know if we were successful in this endeavor if Evergreen State College, the wokest of the woke, came out and decided to change their school colors because green was racist. That was going to be the mark of success. Now, this plan lasted for about 3 minutes before we moved on to something else, but it's kind of something that is always stuck in the back of my mind. I was like, this could be like a total, like, this is just like one of those things, like, I want 4chan to really get on and like work on. I think that 4chan could actually make this thing a reality, and of course, like, it would go perfectly because it's green. Like, this should, like, why 4chan hasn't done this yet, I don't know. Anyhow, I was thinking about that when I saw this story pop up, and I was like, it's time. It has come. It is time to convince Evergreen State College that green is racist. If it doesn't happen now, I don't know when it could ever happen. This is from the Post Millennial. Portland High School worries that evergreen tree mascot is problematic because it could symbolize lynching. I'm just saying, if an evergreen tree is considered racist, that is just like a hop, a skip, and a jump to the entire color green being racist. And I'm sorry, like, Evergreen State College, the tree is in your name, dude. Like, how can you possibly justify this overt link to white supremacy? Let's read the article. Portland Public Schools Board of Education delayed adopting a high school's new mascot of an evergreen tree after concerns arose from board members that the tree might have negative connotations because of its alleged ties to lynching. Okay, this is honestly me asking, because, like, I come from the Northeast, right? And where I grew up, there was a lot of evergreen trees. There was a lot of trees. Okay, we had those trees. I don't, like, are these like a thing in the South? I'm honestly asking, like, I don't know. Is this like a common tree in the South? Because obviously, like, Portland is in the Pacific Northwest. I grew up in the Northeast. I get why there are things there. I don't know. Someone can answer me that in the comments. Is this actually a real idea, or is this something that they just made up? I'm going to lean towards it's probably the latter. According to the Portland Tribune, Ida B. Wells Barnett High School in Southwest Portland was set to vote on a new mascot last Tuesday after a committee deemed their old mascot, the Trojans, controversial. Well, never. Moving from one racism to another. Way to go, Portland. The committee, which involved, they picked the most innocuous thing that they could possibly pick in the world. A goddamn tree. It's a tree. The tree never did anything to anyone. The committee, which includes students, staff, and community members, proposed the Evergreens be the new school's mascot. I wonder if it was like an homage to Evergreen State. When it came time for a vote, Director Michelle DePaz shared community concerns that the evergreen tree could symbolize lynching and that this suggestion came with a blind spot. If evergreen trees are racist, then everything is racist. I'm wondering if there was any concern with the imagery there in using a tree as our mascot. I mean, one could also argue that a tree, like, figure could also be considered a toxic masculinity. Okay. I'm wondering if there was any concern with the imagery there in using a tree as our mascot, DePaz asks the renaming and mascot committee. I think everyone comes with blind spots, and I think this might have been a really big blind spot. One of the committee members, Martin Osborne, who is also black, defended the evergreen tree as the high school's new mascot, as it represents a tree of life, not a tree of death. We did that. I'm sorry. We did talk about it, but we were looking at the symbolism more as a tree of life than a tree of death. That's gonna be a book. Someone has to write that book, The Tree of Death. You could certainly take it either way, depending on your position. No, wrong. Average people do not see an evergreen tree and view it as a tree of death. Osborne continued to defend the committee's idea of the evergreen tree and said their decision had nothing to do with the horrible history of lynching in the United States. Lynching trees, typo post-millennial, typically are not evergreens. This is what I'm saying. Like, do these trees even exist in the South? Added Osborne, who later acknowledged that, I have no idea how to pronounce that word, other trees were more commonly used to do the deed. However, Osborne's statements failed to sit well with DePaz, and the renaming and mascot committee decided to delay the vote until the next board meeting. Lynching is a really difficult topic to talk about, and as the sole black board member, I invite you, beg you, implore you to join me in disrupting these situations' practices that are racist. I can't do this by myself, said DePaz. High school principal Philippe, I have no idea how to pronounce your last name, Philippe, told the school board, we take this seriously, as one should. And I definitely want to follow that commitment to protect, preserve, and promote the legacy of Ida B. Wells. The focus and opportunity was really to marry the sentiment that we heard from a lot from our stakeholders during our naming process, which was a desire for a local connection, says the principal, who later claimed that the evergreen tree is a great choice in capturing a local connection in the school's identity. So you heard it here, folks. Trees. Evergreen tree. I'm saying, like, that is the symbol of toxic masculinity right there. All right, folks, if you enjoyed this video, I do content almost every single day of the week, except for the weekends. I tend to take those off. But during the week, you can see videos every single day or discussions with different interesting people about news, politics, culture. I tend to focus a lot on fighting back against the existential threat that is the woke and critical race theory. So that's really the focus of a lot of it. But if you enjoyed these videos, I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel, giving it a thumbs up, leaving a comment, feeding that little algorithm, and letting me know how I'm doing. You can also really help me out and support my work by joining my Locals community. The information is right below you, kb.locals.com. Locals is free to join, but it's also a place that if you want to chip in $5 a month, you get access to 2 weekly community Zoom calls that we do. I actually have one in about 20 minutes where we gather on Zoom as a community. We talk about what's interesting to us, what's important to us. It's honestly a really great way to connect with like-minded people who are not certifiably insane and calling trees racist. But they're awesome. We also do book clubs. We also do a whole bunch of other stuff together as a community. It is a nice little bastion of sanity in the land of social media. So I hope you'll check it out. Again, you don't need to pay any money to join if you just want to see what it's all about. But if you do decide to contribute, it does help support my work, and I greatly appreciate it. That's all I've got for right now. I'll see you soon.